Every day you choose if you'll be rich or broke in the future. And it all comes down to habits. I'm gonna share with you the 9 money habits that are keeping you broke. Some of these I learned going from broke at 24 to millionaire at 27. And some are what I've observed in people I know that just can't seem to get ahead. Starting with habit number 1, taking advice from broke people. If they don't have what you want, don't do what they do. You should only get advice from people who are where you want to be. You would never take workout tips from an overweight fitness coach. Why would you listen to a broke financial advisor? Why would you listen to your parents that have never done the thing you want to do? I'm not saying be rude about it. I'm saying be careful who you ask for advice from. So here are the 3 types of people you should be getting advice from. The first are mentors. These are people who have succeeded in the thing that you want to go do. There are folks that can act like a guide to the big decisions. See, I always say mentors are the people you turn to instead of your parents. Number 2 are coaches. Specialists with deep expertise in the area you want to be successful in. If somebody was an Olympic athlete, you would say, well, who are you coaching with? Based on their ability to help other people just like them get to the Olympics. You want to find the people that have the blueprint for success to help you get rich. 3 is peers, people on a similar journey. These are ideally people that are like 1 to 2 years ahead of you because they'll bring you the certainty that you're making the right decision for what's working in the market today. Everybody else, take their feedback with a grain of salt. I'm not saying plug your ears, but I'm just saying you can listen politely and then ignore their advice. But bad advice isn't the only thing holding you back. Which brings us to habit number 2, ignoring your bank account. In the early days, I was talking to one of my mentors and he asked me a simple question. He said, what are your numbers right now in the business? And the crazy part is I didn't know. And he got pissed. If you want to be a successful business person, you need to focus on your numbers. You need to know that what you look at will grow. If you don't look at it, if you stick your head in the sand, you get a report once a month, it's not going to work out. See, the more frequently you measure, the less likely you'll get off track. So this is how I keep a good money pulse. Number 1, review it daily. Every day, I log into my bank account and I look at my cash. I look at how much money I have. My rule is called the 24-hour rule. If I haven't looked in the last 24 hours, big no-no. Number 2, you want to automate your tracking. If you don't have a budget for your life, then every decision will feel like a decision. The truth is, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't do it. So there's apps out there. They're free, personal finance apps that will help you automate all this tracking so that you don't overspend. Number 3 is look ahead. This is all about saving and planning for expenses and making the right investments. And I know this might sound boring, but here's the deal. If you don't become a saver, then it doesn't matter how much money you make if you're always spending more than you're actually taking it. Number 4, create sensors. This is a simple concept that changes everything if you're actually monitoring. But think about like your credit card, you get notified every time there's a transaction. So that cash in your bank account, let's say in your savings drops too low, you'll get an email. You want to make sure you set up these sensors so that nothing weird happens without your awareness. But just knowing what you have in the bank won't be enough. Which brings us to habit number 3, trying to get rich quick. Real wealth is built over time, not overnight. There's this crazy moment in my life about a decade ago where I decided to invest in real estate in Detroit. I'm Canadian. What am I doing investing in another country in another city? Some guy at an event told me that the bank was selling homes for $10,000. What he failed to tell me is the reason the bank was selling these for $10,000 is because these homes were rundown crack houses. Essentially, they were liabilities to the bank and they were just trying to get it off their book. So I showed up with hundreds of thousands of dollars and bought these homes with my brother thinking it was a good idea. After not hearing from a property manager for a while and getting my brother to get on a plane to go look at these homes, for him to call me and say, dude, we got to get rid of these as soon as possible because we're now liable for those things. I lost $100,000 on that deal because I was trying to get rich quick in an industry I had no experience in another country, in a city I didn't even live in. I deserve to learn that lesson. Here's what I've learned. FOMO, fear of missing out, is a terrible reason to make financial decisions. Instead, here's how to build real wealth. Number 1, build a skill that's valuable to the market. Anything like sales, marketing, AI automation, real skills that there's demand and need out there in the world that people will pay you top dollar to do, build that skill. That's how we start by creating wealth. The second is we have to solve real problems. I remember when I started off, I just wanted to build apps for my friends. The problem was my friends were teenagers that didn't have any money. Real problems are other businesses that have real money that'll pay you with real dollars. You cannot pay with an IOU. Gas money ain't gonna do it, so solve real problems. Number 3, learn to build a business. Everybody wants to overcomplicate building a business. I consider it this simple. Sell anything to a stranger. Go outside, pick up the phone, go on the internet, sell what you do, your skill, solve a problem to a stranger, take money, you have a business. Before you incorporate, before you open up a business account, it doesn't matter. You can make up to $30,000 a year and just file your taxes like a normal person. So don't overcomplicate that. Just get started. But building wealth won't happen if you're still doing it with your time. Which brings us to habit number 4 that's keeping you broke: trading time for money. When I was starting off as a 19, 20-year-old programmer, I got a job making $30 an hour, which was huge money at the time. My dad was so proud. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're working at the best company in the city. What I knew is that if I only got paid when I showed up, then my income was always going to be tied to my time. What I've learned is there's 3 levels of time trading that if you master will help you actually get rich. Level 1 trader, being an employee. This is where you trade your time for money, like I just said. See, what you get paid for is based on what you did. The problem is that it's linear. Instead of getting paid for the outcome, you're getting paid for the time. Level 2 trader is an entrepreneur. This is when you start trading money for time. You have a business, you make money, and then you take some of that money and then you hire somebody through labor, like an administrative assistant, to be able to take things off of your plate so you have more time to go create more money. Level 3 trader is an empire builder. And this is where you trade money for money. And this is all about getting your money to work for you. This is investing in other businesses, investing in your own business. But when you can start getting a return on your money that doesn't involve you showing up and doing work, that's when you start to build real wealth. But making more money won't help if you don't pay attention to how you spend it. Which brings us to habit number 5, paying for status. Stop buying things you can't afford to impress people you don't like. And I know how silly I sound sitting here wearing this watch, but you gotta understand, I went like 20 years of building and investing before I ever spent money on anything to make me look fancy. Once you get to a place where your income is a surplus and you're investing and you want to start rewarding yourself through life, through experiences, through objects, then it's really about what you do to make yourself feel good. See, I dare you to be simple. I dare you not to be fancy. I dare you to focus on outcomes and goals before you ever focus on perception. See, most people buy shit to impress other people they don't even like. The reason I know this is at 21, I remember my first big paycheck. I flew my little brother out to the West Coast where I was living, and we went on the most extravagant ski trip ever. I spent like 20 grand in 2 weeks. It was wild. New snowboard gear, big parties, hotel rooms. And after all was said and done, I asked myself, what part of that I really enjoyed that was worth the money I spent? The truth was road tripping with my brother. So the cost of gas would have been worth that experience, not the 20 grand on all the other bullshit. It took me 20 years of building companies, investing in other companies to get to a point where I would allow myself to buy something that other people would consider luxury. So here's a few ideas that are going to help you to live a life where you're not paying for status. Number 1 is have pride and honor the fact that you live below your means. I dare you to spend the least amount of money to build your dreams. The other one is learn how to have money and not spend it. I remember one time a kid won some inheritance and he said, what should I do with the money? Where should I invest it? I was like, here's what I recommend you do. Spend it on nothing for 12 months, grab $10,000 in cash, put it in your pocket and walk around and don't use it. Carry the cash with you. Because if you can learn to have money without spending it, it sounds wild, but it'll change your whole belief around money. Some people cannot have money in their bank account without spending it. The other one, the only winning move is not to play the game. You're allowed to decide, I don't want to play this game. I'm cool being me. If you can learn to be you, then your possessions don't possess you. See, that's a problem with buying luxury stuff that most people that don't do the work don't understand, is that these things are necessities. They should never be that way. But even if you're avoiding luxury, you might still be making this spending mistake. Which brings us to habit number 6, impulse buying. I am the worst at this, okay? I'm gonna tell you why I can teach this to you, because I sit on TikTok every night and then I grab these links and I send it to my house manager and say, Betty, can you please buy this thing? Something I probably don't need. The good news is it's not that expensive. I buy literally tchotchkes, $12, $15 gifts for friends. Here's what I learned though a long time ago that changed everything, that allowed me to get to a place where I can do that and not even worry about it. The skill to develop is called delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is more powerful than compound interest. If you can push off that purchase, you will change your whole life. Most young people get into the economy after school, or they start a business, and then they just saddle themselves with just crazy stuff, from new couches to new BMW leases to new condo leases. Like, it just creates all this pressure. The truth is that the world is against you. All these people creating these financial products to give you credit, to lend you stuff, to lease you stuff, they're doing it to make money. If you can just delay it, then you don't start off life feeling like you're trying to walk with a chain and ball around your financial ankle. So here's what I think about it. A yes to your impulse is a no to your dreams. If you know what you can invest that money in towards your dreams, your education, that skill, that business, you have to defer the satisfaction of today so that you know what you're building towards. What I do instead is I tie my big purchases to a goal. It's part of my achievement system. So for example, when I did 75 hard the first time, the goal of finishing that, compliant 100%, 75 days in a row, was getting my first orange McLaren. Project Visible Labs, the reward for that was bringing my family on a big trip to Cabo. If you can just delay for a little bit and you tie the desire to a goal, then you just teach yourself to keep striving for more. And that's positive. You're not saddling yourself in all this debt or buying stuff you don't need today. But controlling spending becomes pointless if you're still making this mistake with your time. Which brings us to habit number 7, which keeps you broke: spending time to save money. This one's gonna hurt your brain. Broke people spend time to save money, and rich people spend money to save time. You do not have any more time than anybody else that's rich, and you have to figure out ways to get more leverage. I remember growing up watching my dad mow the lawns of his rental properties. And I was like, Dad, you're spending your whole Sundays mowing all these lawns. Why don't you just pay somebody else to mow it for you? I mean, you can afford to do it. He said, well, I like to do it. And I said, well, if you like to mow the lawn so much, why don't you offer to do the neighbors? He's like, well, I don't like to do it that much. You're never gonna be able to grow if you don't learn how to use money to buy back your time. So the way I like to teach it is both personal and business. Think on the personal side. What are the things you do in your home? From simple things like doing the laundry, cleaning your home, maybe cooking, grocery shops, running errands, to the business side, answering your emails, scheduling meetings, making purchases, doing research. There's all these little micro activities that don't feel like a big deal that add up to 5, 10, 15 hours a week, both at home and in your business, that you could spend money so that you have the time to take care of yourself or invest in a new skill to go be more valuable to your employer or to your company. But how do you know how much to spend? For me, that's where I came up with this formula called the buyback rate. Essentially, you take your annual income. If it's a business, you take whatever you pay yourself and you divide that by 2,000. And the reason it's 2,000 is because most people work 2,000 hours in a year. That'll essentially give you how much money you make per hour. So if you make 200,000 and you divide that by 2,000, that's $100 an hour. So your buyback rate is 1/4 of that. And the reason why is you want to get a 4 times ROI on buying back that hour. So if I can spend $25 or less to buy back an hour of my time, because my buyback rate is $25, then I am freeing up and making a great investment in my life. Then I can take that time and go work on being more valuable, go make more money, or honestly just take care of myself so the whole thing doesn't feel hard. But valuing your time is going to keep you from being broke, which brings us to habit number 8, which is playing defense. This is my number 1 thought on creating real wealth: is you can't save yourself to wealth. There's no amount of penny pinching and latte saving and cooking at home that's going to make this work for you. You have to increase your income. When I see creators like a Mr. Beast who plays full offense, no defense, where he takes every dollar and he reinvests it in making the next video to make it the best thing. And we're talking millions of dollars every time. Sometimes he's created videos he couldn't even finance. He had to go sell a brand deal. Or like I look at my life and I'm like taking every dollar I had left and I invested in a business coach because I was sick and tired at 23 of not being successful. All I know is that when I had a scarcity mindset around my money, that it didn't grow. So you have to learn, play to win, don't play not to lose. So here are a few early investments everyone should make to get on offense. Number 1 is your skills. You have to invest in yourself. When I talk to my boys, we talk about 2 unlimited budgets. One's your health, the other one is your education. So if they want to buy books, yes. If you want to buy a course, 100%. If you want to get a tutor, a consultant, somebody to come over and teach you something, let's go. Because your skill is how you become more valuable to the world. Number 2 is your network. If you want to grow, you have to change your environment. If you want to get into better rooms, better environments, you have to get access to those rooms. And sometimes you have to spend money to get there. It's just the way it works. Universities have been doing this for years. Business groups have been doing this for years. Your network is your net worth. Number 3 is your time. You need to learn how to be a better time trader. If you're not willing to invest money to buy back your time, then you'll always be stuck just getting paid to do the thing. But avoiding this next habit will change the way you get wealthy. Which brings us to habit number 9, keeping you broke: making money the goal. Money is a tool. Without purpose, it's just paper. When I exited my first company and I suddenly made millions, I honestly felt lost. I worked my whole life up to this point, a decade of hustle, of grind, of putting in the hours, workaholic, because I thought that somehow, some way, when I made all that money, it was gonna mean that I became something. Instead, I lost my purpose because once I sold my company, nobody cared if I got out of bed. What I learned in that moment, real happiness, real fulfillment comes from purpose, not the paper of money. So here's how to make money with purpose. Number one, it's not a number. Instead of thinking about how much money you save, figure out how many people could you help with that number? What does it mean? To me, it's not about having it, it's what can you do with it. Number two is find your purpose. And this is the hardest one for people to figure out because it sounds so elusive. It's like, man, I don't know what my purpose is. And I get it. I believe your true purpose in life sits right next to the hardest thing that's ever happened to you, the worst thing that's ever happened to you, the thing that created the most pain that you overcame, that you can help other people either avoid or get through easier because of your example. And number three, you got to learn to give back. You got to tie your money to purpose to help other people. If you don't do it that way, you'll always feel empty. You'll always feel like you're chasing the next mountain, the next big thing. And the truth is today, in this moment, if you do it right, you could feel absolutely fulfilled. I think the best way to play offense and not defense is to remind yourself of the potential you have. Like the truth is if you're watching this, you have access to a phone, the internet, you can breathe air, but you have more than somebody that was alive 300 years ago. So you have more access to information, more access to tools, more access to resources. You have people around you, the ability to communicate with them today. Focus on the possibility, focus on the abundance. Figure out what you have, not what you don't have. Because if you can start focusing on the offense, not the defense, then you're going to create money that works for you. And even if you try and then you fail and you're right back at zero, the truth is you've got that lesson with you and you get to take that with you for the rest of your life. Oftentimes my setbacks were there to teach me a lesson that I used in the future that helped me avoid making a mistake that would have been 100 times more expensive. So now that you know what habits to avoid, if you want to learn the 7 habits of millionaires that most people learn too late, click here and I'll see you on the other side.